Hey guys, it's Cass. So today I'm going to be doing a winter barn chores routine. And in a way, it's not really a routine because I'm a full-time high school student, so my mom does barn chores most days as she is the director of the camp I live at. But I wasn't at school today, so I decided to do them. Also, I don't get to ride in the winter because our camp is just completely ice. So this is the very little horse time I have. So the first thing I do is I feed a field of 7 horses that it's attached right to the barn. And these horses have a more specialized diet, that's why they're on this field. And Tulip's in here. Of course, their grain is always changing. Right now they're not in a lot of work, so they're more on just like a fattening diet, but not as much of like a performance diet. But it'll change a lot once they come back into work in the spring. So my dog Paigey likes to put all the buckets in the stalls with me. Anyways, then I start letting in the horses. So the horses all have their stalls memorized. It's super simple. You just open the door, the door is connected right to the field, and then they come in one at a time. They go right to their stall. Super simple. They're great horses. This horse has never been in the barn before. She doesn't know how she feels. So then it's time for the bunnies and chickens. So they live down in this shelter, a little ways away from the barn. The first thing I do is you just check the bunnies, make sure they're alive and healthy. We've got 3 of them. We've got Bandit, Winter, and Moose, and they live happily in their little warm shelters. They love it. And I just give them some grain and fill up their water. So we have 6 chickens. Their names are Barbara, Gretchen, Phyllis, Angela, Pam, and Meredith. Yes, 4 of them are named after The Office. Anyways, all we do is we feed them outside of the pen because they're quite lazy and like to stay in all day. So we feed them outside of their pen and lock them out, which is a bit of a pain to do because they don't like coming out. But then I also give them water and collect their eggs, and that's about it for the chickens.
It's a sin, tomorrow is a busy day. We got things to do, we got eggs to lay. We got ground to dig and worms to scratch. It takes a lot of setting, getting chicks to hatch. Oh, there ain't nobody here but us chickens. There ain't nobody here at all. So quiet yourself and stop that fuss. There ain't nobody here but us. Kindly point that...
And obviously the barn cats need some food too. Then I go back up to the horse field and I start filling their water trough. So by the time all the little animals are done eating, normally the horses are also done, so I go back up and start letting them out. And I thought I would introduce you to the 7 that are in this field. So Lila is this paint mare. She's really sweet. She's only 7 years old, and this was her first time ever coming into the barn in this fashion, so that's why she was a bit green about it. But you'll see her on my social medias pretty often as I train her for work. And then this is Penny. She's a old Morgan Canadian cross. She's like 26, but she's a great camp horse. She's super sweet, takes care of the kids really well. This is Favor. This is my mom's 4-year-old. He has been backed but isn't fully started yet, and you'll see him sometimes as I'll be helping my mom once in a while with him this spring. He's really sweet. And then next we have Tommy. Tommy's another old guy. He's another old and faithful camp horse. He is if I remember, like 23 or 24. He's up there too, and he's also really sweet with kind of a goofy personality. This is Carousel. She came from Quebec, Canada, and she's a wonderful school horse. She likes to train the older kids. She's pretty awesome. We have Shooter. Shooter's pretty great. He's a quarter horse, and you have also seen him on my social medias as I once again train him for work, and he's pretty great. And last but we have Tulip. You guys all know Tulip, obviously, so here I'm just doing a couple of tricks with her. I like to, when I'm doing chores and I can't ride, just kind of play with her for a second and have a little bit of fun. I didn't get much of a chance to do that today, but that's okay. And then I sweep the barn. So luckily we don't actually keep many horses in overnight unless they're injured, so we rarely have to muck stalls. Sometimes it's just a little pickup, but for the most part they're pretty clean, which is really nice. So the only big cleanup we have to do is sweep the barn, and then today I also had to put and then the last task of the day is feeding our other field of horses. This one holds in between about 15 and 25 horses, depends on the time of year. And all we do is we bring the grain down and then scoop it into all the individual buckets. But as you'll see me do in the next clip, I realized that it's really, really icy and I could not feed the horses in here, which was really annoying. Okay, so I'm not actually going to be able to feed them today because if you look at our standing stalls, it's literally just sheer ice, and like all of them are like this underneath the snow. This is our hay shelter, so we have obviously all of our rounds in here, but then we also have standing stalls surrounding it. And normally what I do is I'd go through and put feed in all of these little buckets, and then you just turn the horses out in here for 10 minutes or whatever because it's fenced in, and then they just come and self-serve themselves to some grain. But it's sheer ice, so now these horses are quite angry with me. As you can see, they're really not impressed, but that's okay. So my final solution was to walk around the field and find clean patches of snow, because we'd had some snow pretty recently, and just give them their grain there. And they were really like surprisingly nice to each other. I thought I'd die because they'd be beating each other up, but it was fine. This, everybody, is called improvising, okay? That's what this is called.